The individual that you brought in, the slaver known as Coins,
Hmm.
he was found dead in his cell. He was found dead in his cell.
Oh, shit.
Al's eyes would widen. He would say, "Oh no, there's another. I'd forget his name. The DB that we helped.
The
Yeah, I can't remember his name
the
either.
the dinosaur
His
headed.
name is
Yeah.
Orans.
Orans.
Yeah,
Orans.
There's a
Orums.
DB named Orans. He was almost captured by the slavery ring. I I
Captain
hesitate.
Hoyas was in charge of that particular investigation. She mentioned it in passing, but it was in her care.
I hesitate to tell you not to trust her
Do
because
not.
I,
I will stop you where you are, sir. I'm going with my instinct that you well mean, but do not tell me what I think or what I feel about Shauna Jade Hoyas. Do you understand?
my apologies then. I am simply worried for his safety.
We'll investigate when we get back into New Laszlo. It is clear that the New Laszlo police and perhaps the military has been compromised somehow.
Hmm.
I just need to know for sure before we talk with Tyne herself. Is there any possibility that she's wrong, that she's lying, or that there's some sort of imposter? If this is some sort of frame job or confusion?
Well,
Because right now, if you lay it at my feet, that the most dedicated woman I have ever met now runs slaves, I can near almost comprehend it. If there is a seed of doubt, tell me right now, and that's fine. And I'm sorry that my emotions are running hot right now, but it's like me accusing one of your best friends of rape or murder or worse.
I,
Al
I,
would. Oh, go
no,
ahead. Go ahead, Tom.
I completely understand, sir, but she told me that when she thought she was dying. She wanted me to save her. And by this time, he's going to raise his hands up unthreateningly again. I'm a burster. I cauterized her wound to make sure she could stay alive. She said that right before I did so. I doubt she is lying.
Al would shake his head too and say, "Of course, there's a seed of doubt. There could be 100 things that we don't know or understand. I've worked with Hoyas. I am as shocked as well. I can't say I'm as shocked as you are, but everything I've ever known or seen about her, she's upstanding, dedicated, a little lacking a sense of humor, but someone I respected. Of course, there's doubt. All we have is the word of her on her deathbed, however strong or weak that may be. That is why we came to you."
I have a question.
Mhm.
We gave Hoyas two files. Has she mentioned the slave ring before? Uh, before we found the slaver pen?
She mentioned she was following a lead, and it was accelerated when the slaves were discovered. That's all I know.
Okay.
I, as much as you, hope that that's not the case. Because from what I've seen of her, she's a dedicated and good person. I know nothing more than what the witness has said, if it's a witness. But given everything that we found, it raised enough suspicions that we wanted to make sure you had all the information we could give you.
Ashton doesn't say anything else other than this. He's very sullen and very quiet. Luckily, what breaks the silence is the stuttering coughs of Tyne as the sedative, the deep sedative, starts to wear off. Not completely. There's still local anesthetic that you put on her arm. So when she wakes up, she's not screaming in pain, but she is now conscious. I'll forego the NPC role playing because that will just be like 5 minutes of me talking back and forth with myself. So instead, I will just explain it in more narrative terms. When she wakes up, Tyne demands that she starts to speak. She does confirm what you all told him in the fact that the data was hers, she was involved, but she is very nervous in naming Hoyas in front of Ashwin. It isn't now. Feel free to interject while I'm explaining all this too. By the way, this is one of the few parts where I narrate where I can say, "Yeah, you can interrupt me, and I won't get pissed off at you." So don't worry. But she is slow to mention Hoyas's name in particular, and instead she talks in terms of the investor. This investor approached her about 8 months ago, promising a large amount of cash in regards to setting up a ring in which people can be sold. Before she explains anything else, she asks Ashwin for a guarantee of protection for what she says next is very complicated. Ashwin says the only guarantee you get is that we won't execute you. Everything else you must pay the consequences for. Anything else you guys want to interject?
No, not at the moment.
Okay. Then Tyne says, through pained teeth, that Shauna Jade Hoyas, the spitting image herself, approached her on the doorstep and gave her the money in which to start this business. It was then that she explained the communications agreement between them using a seldom used radio frequency, the programming code in which to do so, and for all future payments, all dividends that Tyne would get from selling the slaves, she would arrange for a drop-off. This drop-off would be at the Little Jug General Store, in which Tyne would simply give the proprietor, whose name is, give me a moment, whose name is Jameson. She would give him the cred stick, and he would put it into one of his brown jugs that he's accustomed to do, and Shauna Jade Hoyas, Tyne can just assume, would pick it up from him sometime that same day. She was to make a payment to her tomorrow. It was supposed to be the final payment. It was one of the last messages before the destroy everything message came up. Ashwin just grills her on being absolutely certain by name and description of all this, in which Tyne adamantly says yes, for certain. Of course, Ashwin reminds her of the consequences of lying, but it is clear that he is getting more and more agitated the firmer in confidence that she is saying that is most definitely her. Reaching out in the dark, Ashwin kind of clenches a fist and says, all right, you said you had to make these drop-offs before, right? Did you log them on your computer? And she says, well, not exactly as drop-off points, but looking through the financial data of the money that I extracted and put aside for her, I think I can come up with some dates. He goes, good. Because it seems that his intention is to match up his known locations of Hoyas during those days and the times that the supposed pickups happened, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You seem to be very animate about this. There is one other possibility.
What's the possibility?
You should still follow this lead to make sure that it matches up with what you have, but we do know that there is a changeling in the town.
What? He says. You know, what do you mean a changeling in the town?
Uh, there, we've been informed that there is a changeling in the town. We're still not sure exactly who or what it might be, but
Tell me everything you know about this changeling. He says,
Al sighs.
like desperately.
uh, the only thing I really know is the basics of changelings.
But how aren't you going to tell him about like Gertie Lombardo or anything like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Remember?
am I going to do that?
No, you don't have to.
I-
Yeah, no. It's up to you. It's entirely up to you. Only
I'm,
you and Mila knows that
Yeah.
it was Gertie Lombardo.
yeah.
And don't
Uh,
forget,
Well, that you
we already did.
suspect it was Gertie Lombardo. She's the only one who had a very negative reaction to that salt.
Yes.
Also, we already told the lizard mage it probably was Gertie.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he's most likely going to do his thing, but I don't know what his thing is, nor am I actually 100% sure about this lady being the changeling, even though I have a fairly strong evidence for it. I don't want her to be arrested or anything like that because I don't know what the flip the lizard mage is going to do. So I'm most likely going to say that if you want to know more information about changelings, I can tell you what I know. But I'm just going to inform him that he has a changeling in the village.
But how do you know that there's a changeling?
Um, well, a mystic creature has informed me of this and asked to keep an eye out for a changeling.
What mystic creature?
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna believe me.
Sorry, this is out of character.
Ashwin does not look like he's laughing at all, and he says, "Speak. You are on the cusp of being arrested or not, and your information is very important.
Right.
I don't care what you think I believe. I just care about the truth. Speak."
A lizard mage has approached our group and asked to inform him if we spot a changeling.
Lizard mage. So this was your source. The lizard mage itself told you that there was a changeling? Have you been able to identify it to prove that he's correct, or is this that's just your source? I was hoping for something a little bit more concrete, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's hard to really give you concrete information about the appearance of a lizard mage.
This is what we're going to do, Ashwin says. I am going to be taking Tyne to the hospital. She requires medical attention. You are all... You will bring your personal vehicles. I believe you arrived in a large robotic vehicle, correct? A behemoth?
Yes, to New Laszlo, yes.
For lack of a better word, for 24 hours until I decide what to do with you, you are going to be stepping in. I'm going to be escorting you to your behemoth. You will park it just outside the gates, just by the strip of New Laszlo, and you will not leave there for 24 hours for whatever reason. I will be in contact with you and let you know what your fates are. Do you understand?
May I ask one thing?
You may ask, but I can't guarantee an answer.
Tyne is still suffering from shock. Until you get her to the hospital, may I remain in your presence under your supervision in case she needs immediate medical care. Whatever you think of me, I do not
Yes,
like
you may
people
ride
dying.
with me.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually do have some more information about the lizard mage.
Speak.
Um, well, as much information as we know about changelings, we checked the possible uh, candidates for such things for specifically salt intake, completely harmless to humans, but fairly negative reaction for changelings. And I have uh, have seen a particular individual who fits the bill for everything a changeling would be. Consume salt and have a severe negative reaction to specifically salt, and also get very upset when she found out that salt was in it.
Who?
I cannot remember her name.
Gertie Lombardo.
Gertie Lombardo.
Gertie Lombardo. I remembered last session, not this one. It's been a week.
Al's
So you're
eyes
saying-
widen.
So you believe, since changelings have a negative reaction to salt, and you saw this negative reaction in Gertie Lombardo, you think she is this changeling? Am I correct in assuming this?
Yes.
So when I asked you if you had any more detailed information and you told me no, and now you're telling me you do, did you just merely forget?
I'm sorry. I just haven't. I wanted to say I'm sorry. I'm a little nervous.
Al would put a hand on Patrick's shoulder and say, "Please be patient. Patrick is a genius, but he is not the best when it comes to speaking in nervous situations."
Very well. He says, "You have most certainly given me enough information for me to follow up on it as much as I can."
I will give you this one large piece of information. If you do try to confront a changeling about being a changeling, expect it to disappear very quickly.
I've dealt with the changeling before, he says.
Al's eyes get even wider.
I've been
Really?
around longer than you expect. Yes, really. However, that's not the most important thing right now. The most important thing is that you comply with my terms that I set out. I must enforce to you that you will be monitored like a hawk. And if any of you take a single step or try any sort of trickery and you are caught, I will assume that you are guilty, and on breaking on our agreement, I will have you arrested for the crimes that I know that you have committed. Burn, since you were away, it's just you have to stay within the behemoth for the next 24 hours and not leave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I can definitely do
It's
that.
pretty much house arrest is what it is.
Yeah, and because of what happened to Tyne, and that was our fault. That was a complete accident. If we are able to get her a replacement cybernetic arm, then please let us know how much it would be and what we can do with that.
Ashwin says, "We'll cross that road when it comes." I have to admit, when I first met you, I thought you were all talented performers. I didn't realize you got involved in this muck. We'll see what has to come with this, but suffice to say, I'm surprised. And with that, we can move the scene onward, if that's cool by you guys.
Yep.
I think if Al's going to ride with him, he would want to ask one question on the trip back,
Sure, yeah, lay it on me.
and we'll roleplay this a little bit. If I ask you a question, Can I get an honest answer and not one of the idea of justice will prevail or due process, but an honest answer?
I have sworn an oath to speak honestly and openly.
Then understand when I ask this question, this isn't for you, but more for me to determine how bad of a mistake I may have made. If I had come to the law enforcement telling you that a slave had heard Tyne's voice, but with no other evidence whatsoever, if I was not able to provide you what I have provided you tonight, is there a good chance Tyne could have gotten away with this?
Here's a question for you. Why do you think you're so special? Why do you think the answer and solutions can only be found in your mind and your body? If a child is lost in the woods and only one person finds her, only one person is sent out to find her, what's the likelihood of her being found? But what if 1,000 people are out to try to find her? What's the likelihood? You would have had our resources. It would have been a tip, and a serious one at that. Would it be possible for her to be careful? Is it possible that we're immune? No. Clearly, either Tyne herself or whomever the guilty investor party is does have links in the New Laszlo police and perhaps military. It is clear there is corruption. And with that, I am not very happy to confess to that, so to speak. But to more answer your question, I don't know. I can't read the future. I'm not clairvoyant. I do not know what your actions would have done. All I know is what your actions have done. And that has caused a significant problem for everyone involved.
Al will nod. This Cyber Knight probably gave him a better answer than he realizes. All right, that's all. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, you caught me off guard, so
Sorry.
I just came up with what was in his head. and
I
that was it.
understand.
All right. So give me a paramedic check, Al, to treat Tyne as she is being transported.
Barely makes
Ooh.
it. Barely makes it. Yeah.
There you go. That's fine. You think she's going into shock again, but you realize you almost misdiagnosed it. But you're good.
Okay.
You're good. You caught your mistake.
All right.
It's fine. So we're going to just move it along. Once you get to the behemoth, you're all asked to enter. You're clearly, Tyne will be escorted to the St. Joseph's Hospital very, very soon. So that's not a problem. And so I guess this is 12 o'clock at night now, midnight of a very, very, very eventful day. So you have until midnight tomorrow in which to hear a response from the police. But Ashwin just leaves with a reminder to, if what you say is true, and if things turn... Ashwin catches himself and he says, just don't break the law right now, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Al will nod.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what do you guys do for the night?
I think we should probably gather together and reminisce.
Be like, hey guys.
Probably. Yeah. How's it going?
I know Al would basically kind of let everyone know how he's feeling, in the sense that things definitely didn't go the way we planned, but the truth of the matter is, considering how he feels about it, if tonight's actions cause the slave ring to be stopped, then he's willing to endure whatever punishment they throw at him. And he's only sad that you guys might get involved.
Alicia kind of scratches her head and she's like, I am the one who kind of shot at her.
Yeah, but
Al would wave it away that's not really.
Nora's just rubbing her temples, like, slowly, more, like, vigorously.
Give me one moment. I just have to get a little bit of water because something else is going to happen. A new scene's going to happen. But
actually, let's-
continue to act, to talk amongst yourselves.
I was gonna say I'm gonna go grab something to drink too. I'll be right back.
Oh, perfect.
Fine, everybody's just going. Jeez.
It's been a
What?
long road getting from there to here.
So, I blew up her house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a party and poured salt on things. That's all
Yeah,
I'm
you did.
guilty of. That's it. I have nothing. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Sort of. It's true, but I don't think Nora would like shout that to the world.
What are you going to shout to the world?
No, I said Nora wouldn't shout that to the world like, I just went to a party and put salt on everything. That's all I'm
Yeah.
guilty of is poor taste in food.
Let's see. I
ass.
did breaking and entering, attempted murder.
I was thinking about like, maybe we should mention that like there was a moment before like, you went there to quote unquote deliver a message. We didn't just break in willy-nilly, but at that point I'm like, I don't think it really matters. Regardless, we broke in. Like even that's just like added fluff to like the shit that is the pile of
I like Ashwin Caliber quite a bit, but I had to put them in business mode because this is serious shit. So
I
I'm
know.
like, well,
Like,
what would a
all
police
the-
officer do in this case? No,
Well,
this
I
is
was
what he
thinking
do.
like all this time I was like I'm just picturing like Ashwood like always like riding a white horse, like his hair is constantly blowing in the wind. So you just
Yeah,
make
he
him
is
sound
a-
so beautiful.
He is a cyber knight. He
Oh
is,
Yeah.
God, we ruined Mila's chances with them. I'm sorry.
not 100%. He doesn't know how guilty Mila is in all this. She might
I
be-
only poured salt on things. That's all
I
I'm
was
guilty
told
of.
to do things. I don't run.
Don't try
This
and get
is
out of
only
this,
your
Patrick.
fault.
Yeah, to be fair, like Mila and Patrick, all they did is Patrick decoded a hard drive that was handed to him. That's about it.
Well, I guess we
think-
did sort of stop her at the party, and I sort of ran and warned you that she was coming
Well,
back.
no, that was coincidence. That was that was accident.
Anyway,
I'm only guilty of the
Caesar.
salt.
is there anything else you guys want to talk about round table?
Not really.
Okay.
So if we go,
I
to our-
think I'm guilty of the most things now.
No,
Well,
I think that Al would just say that. Oh gosh, because like I think Al at this point, Al's like there's a decent chance I could be spending a lot of time in jail at this point. He might say something kind of like whatever happens, I'm glad you guys were here, or something something along those lines. Because if he really is going to go to jail for a long time, it might
So,
be best to say
yep.
such a thing.
Nora's just giving him the you're stupid look. You're-
right.
Or-
You are
Alright.
stupid look.
Nora, what happened to my my flask?
Oh. I guess I don't know. I guess she put it on the motorcycle and forgot about it.
Al gives Nora
Okay.
the "you're stupid" look.
Dang it!
All right.
Why? What was up with the flask? Did I miss something about the flask? It's filled with apple juice, right? That's it. Was it a bomb? Was it a bomb? I'm confused.
No,
Here's a
it
super
was
high tech
just-
flask that was the key to the universe.
Okay. So, the air starts to get this static electricity feeling around it. It gets heavier and electrified. Towards the center of the table, of your dining room table, you start to see purple sparks start to fly out of almost nowhere until, like a flash, the guise of this 7.5 foot tall, dinosaur faced looking lizard mage, Tyrath the Undying, stands on the. Don't correct what his name is. He has many titles.
Don't correct the lizard mage.
Do not correct the god that's controlled by God. All right. And he's there, standing, giving a bit of a reptilian smile as he says, "Greetings, humans.